I went to see the new Pixar movie yesterday with high hopes, as the ratings were excellent, although many critics have said that it's not one of their best, so I did keep that in mind. But honestly, although the movie does have moments that are quite emotional and will easily make you tear up, it is probably one of the worst next to Cars 2 and Up for the message it brings to young children. And by that, I specifically mean young boys. As always, if you don't want spoilers, stop right here and come back when you have seen the movie. It was already no good news when Pixar makes you sit through an excruciatingly long Christmas special short film that's a spin off of Frozen with new musical numbers. Possibly the worst Pixar short I have ever seen and possibly will see. But you never know. It's so bad that you wonder if it was Pixar that made the short film, or perhaps some dude from the Disney Channel made a daytime episode for 3-year-olds and decided to use the Pixar logo. It was all silliness and could have lasted for just 5 minutes, but they decided to make it 21. We should all have a medal for having the patience to sit through that piece of garbage. Coco, like all Pixar movies, looks great visually. The story is about a young Mexican boy who wanted to be a musician, but his family bans music due to the patriarch of the family, Hector, leaving his wife and young daughter Coco for his musical ambitions and never came back. Already you have the stereotypical irresponsible man. We are also told that, of course, the matriarch of the family is the much more responsible one. And with her man gone, she just started up her own business, which eventually became the family business and managed to raise the daughter all on her own. You know, the typical strong, independent woman. But of course, at the same time, eternally holding a grudge against her husband for presumably abandoning them. She apparently didn't even think to ask around what had happened to him, maybe filing a missing persons case. The movie is also supposedly trying to introduce the audience to the Mexican culture. Now, I don't know how accurately they succeeded, but the movie certainly didn't do the Mexicans any favors. In fact, if I was a Mexican woman, I would have been offended. Gone are the days of calm, elegant, dignified ice queens in cinema. The hard chicks are now all the rage, and this movie is no different. The movie portrays the Mexican family as one that is not only dominated by the women of the family, but women who are crazy, aggressive control freaks and frequently feel entitled to commit violent acts towards men and boys. But of course, we're supposed to laugh about it when a woman takes off her shoe and brutally beats a man across the face. Or we're supposed to sympathize and understand from their perspective when they visually take away a young boy's dreams and ambitions. Because a boy or a man's dream and ambition can only be pursued at the approval and permission of a woman for a woman or girl. This cannot be made any more clear than when the only way Miguel, or our young boy protagonist, can get back to the land of the living with his dreams and ambition intact is if he has the permission of the dead matriarch to do so. But of course, if our young boy rebels against her wishes and go with what his heart tells him, he will find dire consequences, just as his great-grandfather did. His great-great-grandfather. We later found out that their great-great-grandfather, Patriarch Hector, was not a total piece of garbage male as we previously assumed after all. He was murdered by another even more ambitious man, of course. Because male ambition will always lead to villainy, don't you know? It's standard toxic masculinity 101, and that's why the only way we can sympathize with male ambition is if the male is in fact a cute little animal, and there's no female of the same species involved. That's the only way Pixar can get away with it. Think about that. Despite the obvious fact that Hector is obviously a male victim, another statistic that men are far more likely to be violently murdered than women are. Even in death, he must apologize and admit to his errant ways of leaving his family to pursue his dreams without the approval of the women in his marriage. A supposedly innocent message to all fathers to come home, we love our men, as Michael Kimmel likes to sweetly put it, because of course we know that the woman definitely knows best what's good for a man and would definitely mind and reject the money her man sends home if it means his absence. Right? Well, let's just say that the stats don't back that up. Not even in the slightest. Now, before anybody wants to tell me that I'm overly analyzing really a sweet message, which is that families should stick together, I want you to just do this mental exercise. What if our young protagonist is a girl, and Hector is a woman, and the women in the family are men? Well, terror would essentially run down from both the audience and critics alike. How dare men be such control freaks to little girls? What gives them the right to tell a woman or a girl what dreams to pursue? How pathetic they must be to hold a grudge on a woman who left you. You probably deserve that, so just man up already. After all, you ended up with a kid, all for you to raise. Isn't that enough for you? And what kind of misogynistic monster are these storytellers to even suggest that a woman's place is by her husband's side, to support her husband, and to raise her children? Shouldn't we be more progressive than that by now? But of course, a woman would never abandon her children in the first place. And actually, they would be right about that one. The woman could have, and most likely would have, taken her child with her, leaving the man with absolutely nothing. But he'll be alright. It's not like he's going to beg for her to come back to let him see his child again. And if he does, he'll just have to take it like a man, because a child belongs to the mother. We all know that. She gave birth to the child, so she is entitled to the custody, and she alone has the right to make the decision whether her useless house husband gets to see the child at all. After all, she earns most of the money for the household anyways. Do you know how accomplished that must be for a woman? Can't you just imagine how hard it is to be her? The movie also supposedly attempted at a jab regarding the situation with illegal Mexican immigrants, as Hector has tried every year to quote-unquote illegally sneak into the world of the living to see his family again. But of course, the reference falls flat on its face, because the message of the movie is basically, hey, if you haven't left your family in the first place, none of this would have happened. That's right, illegal Mexican men. Take note of that. Oh, wait, you left your family in order to ambitiously seek a better life for them at the risk of going to jail? See, you shouldn't have done that. You are better off where you were, in the arms of your family. Your family need you to be there. Hey, never leave in the first place. Or at least if you do, make sure you have the permission of your beloved lady. She knows best. The only good thing about the movie other than the visual, cats weren't portrayed as complete assholes.